Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's 11:30 at night now, and I just came across a video and this flat earther called Chris Berry, and despite it being as late as it is, I just had to make this video. It's only a short one. Having seen this video with his experiment, I had a dig around in his channel and found another video that sort of explains the reasoning behind the experiment. One of the atmospheric effects, called looming, has his interest. Looming can make very distant objects under certain atmospheric conditions appear closer and larger, and Chris quite obviously thinks that this could be the explanation for all the issues about things going behind the curve and whatever. I'll just show you a little clip of that video and then we'll get to the experiment.
Hey everyone, quick video here on looming. So I've heard time and time again from people like Rumpus and Dean and George Natchik that it's impossible for the atmosphere and via refraction to act as a magnifying glass, magnifying lens, can't magnify, and it can't bring objects closer than they actually are, etc., etc. So I was just goofing around and looking up the definitions of the various types of mirage and refraction. And of course we all have heard about looming and now super looming, but I was almost shocked to read what I came across here, just talking about the basic definitions of looming. So here we have Wikipedia looming. It's got obviously these other definitions here, but check this out. There's a different type of mirage, and is also described as looming, in which distant objects appear much nearer than they actually are. Wow. So let's think about that. So when you look at like Rob Skiba's video where he uses the Fresnel lens, and let's just go to that real quick. I can Skiba. Sunset's fine. This will work. Do a refresh. I don't know why that happens sometimes. So when you have this, and he's using a Fresnel lens, and everyone says, oh, well, that's a magnifying lens, and the atmosphere doesn't magnify, and it can't bring things closer because of that magnification. Well, that's literally the definition of looming, in which distant objects appear much nearer than they actually are. Is explained in the same way as the image of the ship, except the image is not inverted. Okay, so looming there is no inversion. The density variations may also act as a magnifying glass. So the other interesting thing about looming, in terms of the conditions you need to get it, is this. Looming is most commonly seen in the polar regions. Looming was sometimes responsible for the errors made by polar explorers. For example, Charles Wilkes charted the coast of Antarctica, where later only water was found. So they're telling you right here the conditions you need are extremely cold conditions, and basically the polar regions where it's very cold.
Just so everyone knows what we're talking about, here's a great set of pictures taken from the same location on different days under different atmospheric conditions. The pictures are of the Farallon Islands. The bottom one is an effect called Fata Morgana, the middle one is an effect called Towering, and the top one is the one we're interested in, called Looming. Okay, so that's a bit of background. To be honest, his actual concerns about the curve don't really matter. It's the experiment that counts. So he's got a hold of this looming phenomenon, and he's worked out that it happens in polar regions. So he's going to try and cause looming in Texas in his back garden. Let's see how he does. Well, the experiment doesn't seem to be going too well, so at this point Chris decides to take things to a whole new level. So there you have it. In Texas, in the garden, at 95 degrees Fahrenheit, apparently Chris Berry cannot make a looming mirage to bring something from behind the curve. I don't know if there's an experiments category, but if there is, I'd like to nominate Chris Berry for Dumb Fuck of the Year. I hope you've enjoyed this quickly knocked up video, and I look forward to seeing you on my next one. Until then, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.